The trailers for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and The Lost City hit the internet as theaters premiere both Nightmare Alley and Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm Joe Acierno.
And I'm Darius Delsoin. This is Cinema Unchained.
Okay, all right. Now, we're now at episode 32, and obviously, like I advertised, or like we advertised in the Instagram post yesterday, we have a terrific lineup for you guys today. But now, before we get into the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and more. And again, if you want to help out the show, give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you can, and follow our social media pages in that description. So before we get into our review of Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley, the trailer for the next Sonic the Hedgehog film, kind of a weird phrase to be saying, the next Sonic the Hedgehog film was released within the last couple weeks or so, ever since like our last episode. And of course, it's based on the classic video game series, and it has Sonic the Hedgehog as he becomes more enthusiastic about being a superhero. Right? Again, it feels weird to apply that word to him too, because it's a blue hedgehog. He becomes more enthusiastic about being a superhero as he faces the return of Dr. Robotnik, as well as the emerging threat of Knuckles the Echidna. And now, one thing that I noticed about the first film is that even though it was a kid's movie, it was weird. Like, it was a kid's movie that was geared towards adults. And again, because like a lot of adults were the ones that grew up with the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, not so much like the kids of today. You know what I mean? And again, like, this movie looks no different in that department.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Clearly, I'm older and I grew up with Sonic, so I'm pretty excited. Like, with Sonic 1, one of my worries was really the design from the initial one. But then they changed it. Saw the movie. Awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best game adaptations out there. So Sonic 2, it looks like they're just going, hey, this is a video game. We're going to make it look and feel like a video game this time around, but still keep it in line with, how to incorporate it into live action. So seeing Robotnik back, he looks amazing. Sonic, obviously, I'm excited for that. Tails, I'm also excited for Tails. My boy Miles is back, so I'm really excited to see Tails in fruition in this live action film for the sequel. And I'm happy they also kept the voice actress for Tails from Sonic Boom and various other video games into this one as well. And I gotta say, Knuckles the Echidna, I was already excited for Knuckles, but hearing Idris Elba's voice solidified it for me even more. That man has a sexy voice. I don't care what anyone says.
Well, who's going to disagree with you? Who in their right mind would actually disagree with you on that? I mean, come on, even to all the fellas out there, come on, you know when an alpha voice is in the room. Let's be real. So it's funny, like, kind of going off what you said too, as far as like, this being a video game adaptation. Like, it seems like with this one, they're really going to be able to not only keep what made the first one like surprisingly good, but actually build on it. Because again, like, you have Sonic the Hedgehog, voiced by Ben Schwartz, who did a great job. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. He was the MVP of the movie. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I'm like, oh, what about Sonic? No, Dr. Robotnik. Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik or Eggman, whatever you want to call him, is the MVP of that first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So you still have those two guys. You have Tails, and then again you have Knuckles, the kind of voiced by the one and only Idris Elba. And it's so funny too, because I remember when the news first came out about Idris Elba playing Knuckles, and it kind of took me by surprise, and I just didn't know how to take that. I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, all right, this feels weird. They're probably giving him a great check. Let's see what happens. And I was skeptical about that until I heard him say that one line in the trailer, and that's all it took, one line. And I'm like,
yep,
all right, this will actually work.
Yeah, like, I'm completely sold, and man, it's like there's nothing more I can say. I'm just excited for this movie, knowing it comes out April 8th, and right before my birthday. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be.
We'll do your birthday a week early.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no shame in that. But yeah, in all seriousness, I'm excited for this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it's weird. Like, I can't say like I don't know if I'll be like anticipating it. Like, Spider-Man No Way Home, which we'll get into later, I was anticipating. Like, I don't know if I can say I'll be anticipating Sonic the Hedgehog, but I remember just having a great night out with the guys, just watching the first one, and I'm happy that I went with people who are more of like Sonic the Hedgehog fans than I am. And I hope that comes again. Obviously, gonna have to go with you, gonna have to go with William again, like last time. And just one thing that I'm thinking of too is, remember like all the references to the Olive Garden from the first movie? Yeah, I'm wondering like, are they gonna do that again? Because like it was kind of cringe in the first movie after a while, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like if they kept with it now in this one, they can make it into a really funny running gag. But maybe that's just me. I know they're not taking suggestions at this point, but whatever.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, I know for me, just everything about it, it's like they're just amping it up again, and I'm really excited
Hmm.
to see just how much more amped it's gonna be, and
Hmm.
seeing how they're taking locations from the games into live action has me really excited, and I'm really curious to see how Knuckles is going to turn good, essentially, because in the games
Yes.
he's Knuckles, he's Sonic's pal, so I'm really curious
Hmm.
to see that transformation and just what's going to happen.
Hmm. And again, like I'm just very much looking forward to all of these characters and just seeing how they bounce off each other. Because let's be real, like we're seeing it for Sonic, Dr. Robotnik, Tails, and Knuckles. No one gives a shit about like the other human characters, right? Like, oh, James Marsden, all right, yeah, whatever, he's cute, I know, but like that's not what everyone is going to see these movies for. So again, we'll just have to wait and see how this one turns out. Now, this film at this point is set to come out on April 8th of 2022. I believe, like you just mentioned. And again, just a question for all you guys. Now, how do you think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 looks? Did you actually get a chance to see this first one? Did you ever play the games when you were younger, or even now when you're older? Again, just what kind of feelings are you having right now as far as Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Leave your thoughts wherever it is that you can. Now, before we talk about the trailer for The Lost City, the newest film from the one and only Guillermo del Toro was released in theaters this past week, and it's called Nightmare Alley. And it follows a manipulative carny as he pairs up with a devious psychiatrist to target the wealthy and influential for money. And like I said, it's from Guillermo del Toro, same director as Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water and Pacific Rim. And I do have to just start out and say, this is not his best film. It's not. Worth the watch, but it's definitely not his best film. Especially when you compare it to, again, Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water. This is not his best film, but I honestly did have, like I said, it was worth the watch. But one of the things that definitely hampered this movie was the fact that it was just a bit too slow. The pacing, like honestly, there were times, especially in the beginning, where I had a hard time just like getting attached or even, I'm going to be on staying awake. You can back me up on that one. And I do honestly believe that this movie could have been about 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah, I mean, I I agree with that. Maybe it's not his best work, but at the same time, for me, just I really liked it. If not, yeah, I'm not gonna say love it. I really liked it. I like the slowness to it because to me, that makes me really need to pay attention a bit more. Really pay attention specifically to certain body language cues and even the tonality of dialogue and what the dialogue is, because in the movie it's all going to come back in some way. And for
Mhm.
me, this honestly, it didn't blow me away, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed certain character dynamics and really understanding the human psyche of Bradley Cooper's character as well, even though I felt that he was a bit very predictable in some ways, mainly because I guess for me it's just easy to pick up on certain things and quickly, and I kind of see where things are going to go before like 30 minutes before it happens. That's just me. I don't know why. Sometimes I just see that. But I still enjoyed it. It was still a good time. Definitely thrilling. I wouldn't really say it's horror based, more
It's
just
not.
thrilling, and you just gotta somewhat pay attention. It's really basic sort of some psychology stuff and behavioral stuff as well when it comes to some of these characters, what they're saying, and you can get a sense of who they actually truly are. And I guess one of the big themes of this movie is deception and how it can really mess with you and corrupt you in certain ways. And again, I like that aspect. The slowness I like to a certain degree. Bradley Cooper's character, I cannot connect with at all. If anything, I actually did not like his character. And again, maybe that's what they were intending. But
Mhm.
nonetheless, I still had a thoroughly good time with this. And I could definitely see you snoozing off because I tried to wake you up.
Yeah, I think it might have been you that actually that helped me out in the end with that. But again, it's funny that you mentioned Bradley Cooper and his character. It's weird. I don't know how much I'd say like I like or dislike his character. I don't know if I could exactly say that I was emotionally attached to the character, but again, that could have been what they were going for too, just given the kind of person that he developed into. But again, wherever the strengths and flaws may have been from his character, at least he gave a great performance. He gave a
Mhm.
really, really strong performance. Good for him on that. And of course, he's really this movie has a giant cast, but it's really him versus Kate Blanchett, right? And again, she's no slouch herself. I thought she did a terrific job too.
Yep, exactly. They I think they all pull their weight and everything, and I guess I have Willem Dafoe on the mind, so
Hmm.
as for No Way Home, and we'll get into that. But I thought he was great too. That man, he still got it to this day.
Yep.
So
Yeah, he's having a great weekend to say the least. And it's one thing too, like even though like I've said over and over again, like this isn't Del Toro's best film, it still definitely felt like a Guillermo del Toro film for a couple reasons.
hmm
Like number one, even though this isn't a horror movie, it still has a very chilling atmosphere, which is something that del Toro is known for doing and doing very well. Another thing he does very well is that he has a way of making like very gruesome imagery look very polished. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like,
exactly.
the Sam Raimi Evil Dead kind of gore. Like no, this is like a classy kind of gore. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna gross you out, I'm gonna do it with panache. I'm gonna do it with style. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna do this very haphazardly, and that's just how he goes about it. I loved how the everything looked. Like this movie's gorgeous to look at. Camera work, cinematography, production design, costume design. This movie is definitely a feast for the eyes more than anything too.
Yep, definitely. I definitely recommend if you just like Guillermo del Toro and his style of work, definitely go check it out. It's worth a
Mhm.
watch at least.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So again, for all you guys that are with us, again, what did you think of Nightmare Alley, and how does it compare with Guillermo del Toro's other films? You know what to do. Leave your thoughts in that comment section, whichever comment section you can. All right, so before we finally get to review Spider-Man No Way Home, the trailer for a new up and coming action comedy, The Lost City, which stars Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock, and Daniel Radcliffe. A trailer for that was released within the last few days, and it follows an adventure romance novelist as she gets swept up in a jungle escapade with her book's dumbass cover model. I'm calling the guy a dumbass. I can't even say the word model, but here I am. I'm doing great, guys, I swear. And I'm gonna be honest, it's funny too. When we were driving to see Nightmare Alley, you were telling me about this movie, how we should talk about the trailer on the show, and you said something along the lines of, like, oh, I just think we should just like, bash it or something like that. And again, maybe I'm misquoting you, but like, it's funny. It it looks better than you made it seem. I'm gonna be honest. Like this actually feels like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Predictable. Again, like we all know Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum are gonna hook up by the end. It's not exactly a mystery there. But I do think this could be a great time.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I got from it. It was really like this looks like the cliche action film, like to the T
Mhm.
specifically. That I'm just like, this looks like a dumb amount of fun. Oddly, even though I know it's gonna suck, I want to see it, but I'm not too
Mhm.
crazy about it. It's like if it's there, I might go out and see it, that sort of thing. But it does have me at least somewhat like my eyes widened, and I was like, oh wow, they're really going stupid dumb with this.
Mhm.
You know what? I'm all right with this. I'll take it over Fast and Furious.
Oh god, that one, Jesus!
Yeah.
Like I said, you have no. Just a little throwback to how pissed I was when I went to watch that movie. You didn't get a chance to see it in time for the show, and I melted my brain just to not even review it on the show. So thank you for that, by the way. Just thought I'd put that out there again. I don't know if you'd
You're
moved past
welcome.
it yet, but no, like I said, it has Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock in it, who individually are funny in their own right. So I'm interested to see how they work together. Whether they had the
Yeah,
chemistry
same
with
here.
each other, I don't really know for sure. They could have just been showing us some good parts from the trailer, but I'm intrigued to see. And I'm also intrigued to see Daniel Radcliffe play a comedic villain because I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan, as I've mentioned on the show before. So just seeing him in anything after Harry Potter, I'm interested to say the least. And I've never seen him do a comedic villain before, so I want to see where he takes that.
Yeah, and same here. But I remember the last film I saw him in was actually Guns Akimbo, and I liked him in that. And I was like, he was pretty funny. So I was like, you know what? I think he can pull off a comedic villain in this film. And like I said, this just looks like his dumb amount of fun. You have Brad Pitt coming in with the long blonde hair. When I say stereotypical action movie, I really mean it. He just whips his
Hmm.
hair, and then you see the fire behind him exploded. I'm like, wow, they're really going in on this. But yeah, dumb fun. Pretty not too excited, but like if it's there, I might go see it.
Yeah, if I got nothing else to do that night and I still have my AMC A list where I get like 3 movies a week for a steady monthly price, then I'll probably watch it. Even if I wouldn't go by myself to watch this one or spend any extra money, but yeah, I'll see it just to maybe kill some time.
Mhm.
So yeah, so now again for all you guys, do you actually see yourself seeing The Lost City? Just simple. No other follow-up questions for that one. So whatever you're thinking, just leave your thoughts in the comment section. And now, again, just, as I've mentioned before, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Google Podcasts, Listen Notes, the Podcast Index, Stitcher, and more. And if you want to help out the show, why wouldn't you want to help out the show? Please give us a 5-star review on whatever platform that you can. And follow our social media pages that are listed in the description. Alrighty. Alright, moving forward, we finally get a chance to see Spider-Man No Way Home. Been looking forward to reviewing this movie on the show for a long time, to say the least. And just to give a little bit of context in case you really don't know what this movie's about, if you haven't possibly heard anything about this movie, the newest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Spider-Man trilogy follows Peter Parker's identity being revealed, and he contacts Doctor Strange to undo the action with dire consequences that span across the multiverse. Now, of course, we're going to be splitting this review into a non-spoiler section first, followed by a spoiler section after that. Now, here's what I just have to say. So now, of course, when it comes to a lot of these, big movies, you have the wide premieres that, us commoners can see, which we were first able to see the movie this past Thursday and Friday. Now, of course, there was a red carpet premiere that I believe was this past Monday or Tuesday. So what you have is a lot of people who, for whatever reason, went to these red carpet premieres, and they took out their phones during the show, recorded certain key moments, and posted them on YouTube. So again, it's not like I got spoiled anything from Instagram or Facebook. I got it spoiled for me on YouTube, because these little bastards that had the need to just grab attention for themselves and post these spoiler videos on YouTube and put them on my feed and just put the spoiler in the title of the freaking video. Honestly, what I have to say to all you guys, just honestly, go to hell. Go straight to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go straight to hell, because you are among the worst that human society has to offer. Now, onto a lighter note here. Let's actually talk about the movie. This movie overall was bananas. This movie was bananas, to say the least. It was probably some of the best entertainment I've had in a very long time. I saw it twice. And Darius, I have an odd feeling that you're in the same boat as me.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't have low expectations, but I was cautiously optimistic because I wasn't too fond of Far From Home. And so going in, I was like, you know what? This seems like Amazing Spider-Man 2 all over again. I'm not sure they're going to do it well, but my God. Oh boy. I freaking love this movie. This is easily in my top 5 favorite MCU films. That's just personally. And the beauty of why I love this movie is that it felt like Into the Spider-Verse. And I love Into the Spider-Verse so much because it still did a multiversal story, but still kept it grounded and told Miles' story. No Way Home felt like that. And it made me cry. It made me get up and clap. It made 30 other people in the theater get up and clap. This is during the theater, not after it. I'm hearing people cry. I'm crying. I can barely see the screen. I love this movie. And one of the things why I love about it as well is that it felt like a love letter to what Spider-Man is as a character and who he is. One of the things I love the action sequences. I love the cinematography. This is probably the best MCU Spider-Man film, in my opinion. Best MCU Spider-Man film. I'm not going to say best Spider-Man film, but at least the best MCU Spider-Man film. And this movie just blew my socks away in every level, from directing, cinematography, writing, and even action set pieces, memorable moments that aren't action related, but just character moments that I just thoroughly enjoyed. The nostalgia didn't feel like nostalgia bait. It really felt like it stayed true to why these characters were special back in Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man, whatever it may be. And it just shows the great care and love they have towards Spider-Man as a property, as a character, and why he's one of the best Marvel superheroes ever.
And again, this kind of plays into the whole nostalgia thing too, because one of the things that I loved about this movie was just the sheer ambition of it all. It aims very high, and it very much sticks to landing. There are so many moving parts to this story. There are so many characters and dynamics and developments that went on. There really is just so many of them, and none of them felt misplaced or thrown in. Everyone felt very well developed and felt worthwhile. And just in that alone, contributed to the film's very emotionally satisfying send-off, excuse me.
Yeah, very emotional set. Again, this just felt right. It felt like they took all the critiques a lot of hardcore even Spider-Man fans had from the previous movies and fixed them. Thanos snapped. But it felt right. It felt wholesome. They kept Alfred Molina's Doc Ock intact, and he was spectacular to see on screen. And I
Hmm.
gotta give a huge shout out to Willem Dafoe. This man just brings his A game all the time, and he still shows that 20 years later, he's one of the best comic book villains of all time. I don't care what anyone says. I will fight you to the death.
Well, I mean, I think you're just, I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with you on that one. If they do, then like, I don't know. Maybe they've got some of that split personality that Norman Osborn
Yeah.
has. But I think one of the things that works so well about this movie, again, this kind of plays into the whole ambition thing I was saying before too, is that this is a giant cast of characters with a giant cast of performance that has to go with it, right? And every single person, like, gives their A game, they give a solid turn, but one of the things that really makes it stand out is just how well everyone plays off each other.
Yep, exactly. The chemistry was there, and Far From Home, I didn't care too much with the MJ and Peter Parker like romance because it didn't make sense for me. But for some reason in No Way Home, I felt it. I really
Yep.
felt for these two, and Zendaya get it's like almost every single person, majority of them, including Marissa Tomei. My God, as Aunt May gave it their all in this movie. This felt like the end game for Spider-Man,
Hmm.
and so much more. And
Yep.
I can't wait till we get into spoilers, but that's just it again, just felt as a Spider-Man fan, I feel beloved, and and I just feel so happy to see Tom Holland Spider-Man just done so well and
Yep.
going to the classic Spider-Man that we all know.
Yeah, and again, taking on Tom Holland too. Again, this is definitely his most emotional performance yet. This is definitely very much a side of Spider-Man that I didn't expect to see, especially considering the fact that it's a Marvel Cinematic Universe hero, right? Like they don't usually tap into that really
Mhm.
poignant core with their heroes in every single film, right? This one they
Exactly.
definitely did. So I love seeing that side of Spider-Man. And again, as far as like the entire cast, my two of my favorite performances are that of Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe being reprising Doc Ock and Green Goblin. I thought they did a terrific job. There really isn't like a sour note in this cast at all. There are a lot of memorable action sequences too, which I thought was great. Some of the CGI was a bit noticeable, if I'm being brutally honest, but that's definitely not enough to take anything away from the movie.
Yeah, and I don't have really anything bad to say other than maybe some of the pacing in the beginning. Some of the comedy didn't land for me, but like one of the things I love about this film as well is like when I say it feels like a love letter to Spider-Man across multiple different mediums. I mean, it really does. It kind of pays homage to the Sam Raimi trilogy with certain camera angles and how they do certain things, action set pieces. You can kind of see the inspiration from Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and even some video games like Spider-Man PS4. I'm watching and I'm like, yo, that's a move from that game. Oh my god, they're going all out. I love it.
Hmm.
So I'm it surpassed my expectations, and I'm just really excited for the really. I'm just happy. That's really what it is. I'm just happy.
Yeah, I
I
saw
was
this movie twice, and I felt happier watching it the second time than I did the first time, which is strange because that's not usually how it works. And again, like this, going to the whole nostalgia thing, there's a ton of fan service in this movie that works very, very well. It doesn't feel like it's just shoehorned in there to get people to watch this movie.
exactly.
It just feels right. And there are just so many iconic scenes in this film that had the theater cheering. And this is very much, again, I've gone over and over again as far as like why we need to go to the movies, like what value there still is in going to movie theaters. This movie is one of those films that still
Hmm.
justifies going to the theater. Because again, as much as I would usually get pissed off when people like make noise during movies, like everybody, like all of us cheering and laughing for certain moments that kind of harken back to certain things. That communal experience in a way it's kind of touching too. So this
It
movie was
really
well worth
is.
the wait, well worth the multiple viewings. And now again, before we get into the spoiler section, did this review convince you to go see Spider-Man No Way Home? And I'm gonna be honest, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to see this movie before watching this review, but maybe that's just me. That's just, I don't know, personal tick that I have. And now again, we are gonna get to the spoiler section of this review in
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay,
Okay. I'm
so
just gonna
now that
keep
we
mine
are
short real quick. My I they're back. Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, they're back. They did them
Yep.
right. I'm very happy. I love Daredevil, him showing up.
Hmm.
Aunt May's death, it really hit for me because they kept on that moment and really propelled Spider-Man into a really dark place. And I thoroughly think that all of what happened and what they did, seeing Andrew Garfield, seeing these memes come to life, I'm thoroughly
Yep.
happy. And honestly, that's really all I gotta say with the
You know,
spoilers.
yeah, well, and here's the thing. So when it comes to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield returning to play Peter Parker, it's weird. This is one of the spoilers that I got, but at the end of the day, we all knew they were going to. Like, you don't bring, and again, I made this point too the other times that we talked about just the trailers for this film, and we saw the villains coming back. You don't bring back the villains from the other films and not expect the heroes to come back. You just don't do that. That would have been
Exactly.
commercial societal suicide for this movie if they didn't bring him back or didn't bring them back. Excuse me. And
Yeah.
it's funny too, like watching all three Spider-Men, right? This is the stuff that fan theories are made of. But at the same time, it still felt cinematic in how they did it. This is what everyone was waiting for and wanted, and it was just so satisfying how they did it. And it's one of those things where, like, again, watching it the second time, it really made me think that I was watching something historic. Like, wow, they're willing to do this. Like, they're going there, and they're going there
Yeah.
in like the best way possible. So I loved seeing all three of them, all three Spider-Men, like bonding together, fighting together. And I loved like what they did with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. They gave solid turns reprising their roles. And I loved how they found a way to make all three of them feel like their own individuals.
Absolutely. And again, seeing the three Spider-Man together in live action, I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, especially since I teared up multiple times during this movie. But
Hmm.
it was definitely worth it, and I absolutely love it. I definitely recommend everyone to go see this. Venom is also in the MCU, which was also great to see. So I'm really excited. I'm really happy, and
Wait,
of
is
course,
he though? I thought he got whisked back to his
a
whisked
small
back.
amount of the symbiote stayed in the
Oh,
universe.
I'm thinking, yeah, no, Venom. Yeah, okay, I'm thinking Eddie Brock, like Tom Hardy's Eddie
Yeah,
Brock. But like, yeah, but again, I with Aunt May dying, that was another spoiler that I got that I didn't expect. That I was a little pissed when I found out about. And of course, again, she delivers that iconic line, "With great power, there must also come great responsibility," right before she dies. Of course, so powerful. And I think Peter's decision at the end to leave everyone not remembering who he is in order to make their lives less
hmm
complicated is the ultimate hero move. That is the defining moment in his character arc, and it just goes to show just how amazing of a job the Marvel Cinematic Universe has actually done with Spider-Man's character.
yep, agreed. And like I said, I'm just excited. I'm happy. I'm satisfied, and it's going to be interesting to see where they take Spider-Man going from here on out.
Hmm. So, yeah, what did you guys think of Spider-Man No Way Home? Was it worth the wait and the hype? Leave your thoughts in that comment section. All right, and now to cap off the show, which I guess is technically a spoiler for Spider-Man No Way Home. The end credit scene of Spider-Man, one of the end credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, is a trailer, like a flat-out trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This picks up after the events of WandaVision. You have Doctor Strange teaming up with Scarlet Witch, and I am interested to see what they do when they have two of the strongest Avengers team up for like one of these individual films, quote individual films.
Yeah, I'm excited. Scarlet Witch is one of my favorites of the MCU. I love Doctor Strange. I'm happy to see these two magicians essentially coming together. Loki's going to be appearing, and this definitely looks and feels Sam Raimi. And I'm just, ooh, it was a good looking trailer. I know
Mm-hmm.
that for sure.
Yeah, and again, like taking on Sam Raimi, this is a guy who did Evil Dead, of course, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. I'm interested to see what he does with something like this and how he brings his own sort of flair to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this trailer, of course, contains certain references straight from a What If episode, according to someone that
Yes.
my brother just happened to sit next to in the theater. And of course, it's an episode that I have not seen. I think I've only seen like the first four or whatever. But we'll just have to see. I think this film is currently slated to come out May 6th of 2022, which kind of gives me some skepticism because this is 6 years since the first film, right? And I know that's partially due to like
Yeah.
COVID-19, but still, like anytime a movie comes out or like a sequel comes out, like 4 to 5 years after the original, like I always get a little skeptical, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
So,
same here. So, we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited.
Yep. Yeah. So again, whatever you guys think, you know what to do. Leave the thoughts wherever that you can. And just like that, the episode's over. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, YouTube, and so much more. We hope you enjoyed this episode, so if you want to help us out, please give us a 5-star review wherever it is that you can, and tune in next week for our reviews of Don't Look Up and The Matrix Resurrections. We'll see you then.
See you then.